August 7th, 1945. The morning after the world changed forever. The city of Hiroshima was silent. The fires still burned. The river carried ashes, and those who survived the blast searched through ruins that no longer felt like home. But this isn't the story of the bomb. It's the story of the day after, of the people who woke up to a world they didn't recognize. If you care about real human stories, the ones history books can't quite capture, take a moment to subscribe. It helps this channel reach more people who still believe history deserves a voice. Hiroshima had been a city of 350,000 people. The day before, it was alive with morning trains, market stalls, and children walking to school. Now, only silence. A survivor named Keiko Ogura, who was 8 at the time, remembered stepping outside and thinking she had entered a world of ghosts. People were walking, but their hair was gone, their skin hanging like cloth. I didn't know if they were alive or dead. The smell of smoke and burned flesh filled the air. Every breath stung. And still, from under collapsed homes, faint voices cried for help. That morning, many survivors began digging with their bare hands, not knowing if the people they were trying to save were family or strangers. By dawn, thousands had gathered along the rivers. The blast had destroyed every water pipe in the city, and the heat left their throats raw. One young soldier, Shinji Mikamo, recalled finding his father half buried in debris. They stumbled to the river together. He said, "Just water. Please, water." But when Shinji bent to scoop a handful, he realized the river was full of bodies. Still, people drank, because there was no choice. For many, the water was their final comfort. In the center of Hiroshima, rescue teams began to arrive. Soldiers and doctors from nearby towns. They had no idea what kind of weapon had been used. They found shapes burned into concrete, outlines of people sitting on steps, frozen forever in the instant of the blast. Doctors had no medicines. Bandages ran out within hours. They used soot from the ruins to mark names on the dead, when names could still be found. Among the dead were thousands of school children who had been sent to help clear fire breaks. Some who survived were burned beyond recognition. A teacher, Mrs. Tanaka, wrote later, "My students were lying in rows, calling for their mothers." But their mothers were already gone. That night, survivors lit small fires in metal cans, not to cook, but to see. They wrapped wounds in cloth torn from their own clothes. No one knew it yet, but radiation sickness had already begun. As darkness fell on August 7th, rain began to fall. Black rain. It stained skin, clothes, and open wounds. Children thought it was a blessing. They didn't know it carried death. Hospitals that still stood overflowed. Doctors with no anesthesia performed surgeries by candlelight. Many survivors later said the worst part was not the pain. It was the loneliness. Everywhere, people called out names that no one answered. By morning, help began to arrive from nearby towns. But most rescuers collapsed within days. They, too, had been exposed. Journalists weren't allowed in at first. The Japanese government censored news of the bomb. But word spread, a city had been erased in seconds. Photographer Yosuke Yamahata, who entered Hiroshima 2 days later, said, "Everywhere I pointed my camera, death looked back." Those images would one day show the world what words could not. In the years that followed, survivors, the hibakusha, began to speak. They told their stories not for pity, but for memory. Keiko Ogura, who was just a child that morning, later said, "I speak so no one forgets that silence that came after." Each story reminds us that behind every statistic, there is a name, a heartbeat, and a final goodbye. Hiroshima was reborn. Today, the Peace Memorial stands where the blast began, a city rebuilt from ashes. But on August 7th, 1945, that rebirth seemed impossible. The day after the bomb wasn't just the start of a new world, it was the day humanity saw what it was capable of, both in destruction and in hope. If this story moved you, If you believe these voices should never fade, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video. Your support helps keep these stories alive for future generations.